Well, hey all, and welcome back. I have another review for you all from Dr. Wu's Extreme Warfare line, Sky Glider, and Blue Thunder. This is a rendition of Thundercracker and Powerglide. And I got mine at the Show Z store. And speaking of Show Z store, you can go to their Discord, which I'll link below, and we can actually chat about toys and stuff. Also, if you go to their website and put in reviewer code NORITOY, you can support the channel, which we really appreciate. If we quickly look at the packaging here, we have a illustration on the front, which looks fine. It's sort of in the same chibi style as before. A little bit of graphics on the side, and then what the figures look like on the back. So the box design is fine, nothing too great. Kind of calls back to some retro grid marks here from the original G1 line. But other than that, pretty standard. So let's go ahead and get these guys out of the packaging and see if they're worthy of our collection. Now with both figures out of the package, we can see the vehicle modes. Here we have Sky Glider, and this one is pretty simplified compared to the other. We have a little cockpit up here with some nice reflective blue paint. You can see a little bit of the gray from the robot mode as well as the arms, and if you look below, you can see the head. So this one is going to be pretty simple to transform, and there appears, I'm pretty sure, there is no landing gear. Didn't see any instructions, and I don't see anything on the bottom. So that is all there is for this guy. You just have to hold him and pretend to play. I do wish there was a port. You might be able to fit a 3mm port under here for a stand, but there's not any standard port for having these displayed in flight mode. Then over here with Blue Thunder, this is really, when you compare the two, this one is considerably nicer as far as jet mode goes. Also, no landing gear. Unfortunately, you see a little bit of the robot mode underneath there, but not much, nothing too terrible. But for something of this scale, really, really nice. Not a whole lot of hollowness, not a whole lot of robot bits apart, but it still looks pretty good. Now for comparison, we can see what a standard Micromaster of the current generation compares with size-wise. And since Micromasters are inspired by micromachines, we can look at Micro Machines comparison. Jets were always off in the Micro Machine line, and so it makes sense. However, realistically, I do think the jet mode does scale well with the car size mode of a Micro Machine. Much better proportions. So let's go ahead and check out the robot mode. Now that we have them transformed, I don't want to forget to mention, they both come with their own set of instructions and a card with their own art on it. Transformation for these guys was pretty simple and quite clever. Though this one is a bit basic compared to the other, but it still looks very good, carries itself well as a robot, and I think aesthetically it looks really good. It's a little bit on the chibi side, but it does go in line with the mini-bot theme. And if we look at back here, it's actually pretty clean. We have a moving butt flap. We have shoulder is on a ball joint, a hinge at the elbow. And really, if we look at some of the smaller things that we're getting from Hasbro right now, there's not as much articulation as this itty-bitty guy has. We have bend at the knee, which is also on a ball joint. We have toe tilt because of ankles on a ball joint. These parts they kind of move around, but they're supposed to stay on the side. But everything's so small, you will kind of knock them out of the way as you're messing with it. But I think my favorite part about this design is the arms. I think the arms have a nice heft to them, a good sculpt, nice details on the hands. You can see it in here with the camera focused. But yeah, really nice detail for the size of this guy. Not a lot of paint, but just enough. And we have a little blue spot here. We have the face, which is nicely detailed, and then the windows on the back. And look, it stands so well for being so small. Now, this one is the premium of the two, I would say. There's only one major flaw, and that is the fact that there is no ankle tilt. And that is largely due to it kind of mimics the old way of having the foot. The foot is on a hinge, but it's really just for transformation. The tail fins here act as sort of a help stand it. And so you can get some wide leg poses, but you're not going to get the toe tilt like you would on the other figures, which is a shame, but given what all this does, I don't mind. We have a hinge at the knee, we have a ball joint at the hip, Transformation for this guy was really actually kind of awesome for its size. It doesn't take a whole lot of steps, but the transformation of the chest piece coming from the back, I just thought was really well done. We have ball joint in the shoulder, ball joint in the elbow. Hands are also nicely sculpted. Face is nicely sculpted. If we can get it to zoom in and focus. And then the thruster, or the cannons can kind of rotate. I mean, they can rotate, but it's a matter if you want them to or not. But I think they look fine where they belong. Wings can move. And of course, the head can kind of move, but it's hard to get your hands in there to really do much with it, but you can turn it left and right. But yeah, the detail, really out of the set, even though it's a dual set, I think this is one where all the money went into this figure more so than that one, just because we have so much more painted details in here. The cockpit, the thrusters, stripes on the back. This is definitely an awesome figure. And if we consider how much articulation this has when we compare it to other things in the line, it's just awesome. And for comparison with the more recent modern Hasbro counterparts, I do have a Starscream, which is typical Seeker mold, and then I have Powerglide on the right. And as you can see, these guys are extremely tiny compared to them and still pack so much detail. I do wish I had a G1 Powerglide to compare with it, because I feel like this calls a little bit more back to that. But you can still see the similarities between how the leg thrusters are and the arms and the wings going up and the head and all that. There's still a lot of resemblances that definitely call to the character. And to sort of bring out some of the smallest figures that Hasbro is offering right now, here you can see compared to Core Class on the left, Micromaster on the right, and a Headmaster on the far right. These are so awesomely tiny. And here's how they scale with weaponizers, which I think is the perfect figure to pair these with, because you can make bases and whatnot with them and allow the figures to interact with them as if they were Titans, or even the bases that you can build yourself. And ultimately, these do scale awesomely with Titan class figures. As you can see here, these are just a great scale to use these as a play set and or just display with the giant robot mode. Now here you can see on the left, Dr. Wu's Optimus Prime, which I feel is a proper scale with the Seeker. And then on the far right, I wanted to show the world's smallest Bumblebee, since it was a mini bot and Powerglide was as well, and you can sort of see how this is extremely small and they've really captured so much character in it for its size. And even though these are a little bigger than Micro Machines, just like Micromasters are, I do think these play sets are perfect for them. Great for setting up little battle scenes and having them go against each other. I bought this Micro Machine set just for this line, just so I could do little setups. So anyway, like I said, I got mine from Show Z Store. Let us know in the comments below if this is worthy of your collection. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.